Bitcoin appears to be on the verge of a big move. The question is whether that big move is going to result in a new all-time high, or if it's going to result in a crash to new lows. In this video, we're going to be covering the charts. I'm going to be sharing my personal opinions on where I see the biggest cryptocurrency going in the next couple months. And I'm also going to be sharing some of the critical levels that I'm looking at that will help determine whether or not I'm even right about this particular setup. So if that sounds good to you, then stay tuned. All right, so here's the monthly chart on Bitcoin. This is in logarithmic scale so that we can see these swings a little bit more easily. And we can see here that this is the bubble back in 2017. And we had this massive crash, it's about a 83% decline, something like that, all the way down to 3,000. And since then, it looks like we've been developing a 5-wave move up. And so the way I'm labeling it is we had a wave 1 up here to June 2019, wave 2 down to March of 2020, wave 3 up here to April 2021. And I think I made my last update on Bitcoin on this channel back in March. And so I think a couple weeks later, we did notch out a new high, and then subsequently we moved down pretty sharply. And so I've been keeping up with that on my Instagram and my Twitter as Bitcoin has been unfolding in this move down. And we bottomed over here at 28,000 and we're moving back up. And so this was a critical range that I was looking at, because if you drop this down, this was pretty important support of the prior wave 4 of three. And so we did bottom out here, and we're moving up currently. And the question is this wave 4? And now we're starting wave 5 up and heading straight to new all-time highs, or is this just part of wave 4? And and will we eventually have another low to take out the 28,000 low before possibly moving up to new all-time highs in a wave 5? That's kind of the question that we're going to be covering in this video. And so we're going to drop this down. We're going to zoom in on the last several months here since the top of wave 3. So here it is. This is the all-time high right here. We had this big move down. This actually should be right here. And currently we're at a little over 43,000 in the price of Bitcoin. And so what I want to share here is, since this move, and I've documented this on my Instagram, so this is nothing new to those that have been following, but this pattern took a shape of 5 waves down. I think that's the cleanest count here. And this is how I've been counting it. And that's pretty significant, because a 5-wave decline is a move that's going in the larger trend. Usually 3 waves are a kind of pattern that indicates that it's a correction and it's going in the opposite direction of the larger trend. But this move is actually, since it's shaped out 5 waves, and I don't think there's really any other way to count it, in my opinion, that this is a pretty significant move that indicates a trend change. And so given that, this move that we've had since, I've been expecting it to be a 3-wave move or a correction that's going against the larger trend. In this case, the larger trend would be down. And so since then, since the bottom over here, it looks like we have had a kind of 3-wave move up. And the way I'm counting this, it's been a little bit complicated in real time, but as the patterns kind of develop, it seems to kind of narrow down the possibilities of the structure. And so we can kind of zoom in here. Since the bottom, it looks like we had a 3-wave move up, which it's not really an impulsive move. And I was considering that this was a series of 1s and 2s up before we started going much higher. But what ended up being the case is that we had this 3-wave move, and then we had this meandering decline. And so this didn't really look impulsive to me. And so I was expecting it to resume higher, but it just kept going lower, just inching down. And the key level that I was looking at was the low right here, 28,800 on this particular chart. And as long as we held above this level, I was expecting this to be just a correction within a larger move up. And sure enough, that was the case. And the patterns that I use in Elliott Wave are kind of important in anticipating the subdivisions of these kinds of waves. And so this ended up being a 3-wave move up. And so that indicated that this was either a 3-wave, 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 or a 3-wave, 3-wave, 5-wave. Now that might seem kind of irrelevant, but it was actually really important in determining how big this move was going to be, because either it was going to be a flat correction in which it was a 3, 3, and a 5-wave move up, or it was going to be a complex correction. In this case, it would be a double zigzag, where it's going to be a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down, or some variation of a 3-wave move down, and then another 3-wave move up. Well, after we broke above this high really strongly, we just soared above it and it just kept going higher. It kind of invalidated the flat interpretation. And so given that, I have been calling this pretty early on, even before we moved up, because I figured we had to go much, much higher because we were correcting this massive decline. How big of a decline was this? This was a 56% decline approximately. So massive, massive move down. I didn't think it was just going to go back up to 36,000 and continue to decline lower. And so we have reached about 50% of this decline. We're tracing it up. And so I've been calling this a double zigzag, and I'll write that out here. So we have a W here, and then an X wave, and then a Y wave. And it's not clear if this Y wave is complete yet, but I think personally, we're pretty close to being complete. And this is because it's a 3-wave move up for W, some variation of a 3-wave decline in X. It can be many different patterns, but I think if you subdivide this, it's most cleanly a triple zigzag, but it's a complicated count. And then another 3-wave move up. So it's a zigzag, X wave, zigzag. So here we have ABC, variation of a correction here for X, and then another zigzag, A, B, and now we're going up in C. And it could be that C is complete. I'm not 100% sure. I'm never 100% sure about anything when we're looking at technical analysis. There's always another possibility, and so you have to just kind of keep your mind open. But it's looking like it's in the late stages of this impulse if we zoom into this chart. And so I'll take a look at that. We're just zooming in on this part of it, which would be wave C of Y, of this Y since the low here at 29,000. And it looks like we are getting close to topping out if we haven't already. And so here we have, let's see. So there are two different interpretations. Right now, you could call it complete, but I'm considering that this could be a larger wave 4 in which we have a kind of running triangle, A, B, C, D, E, and that would be invalid if we break below 42,500 around there, something like that, this low right here. It could also be a flat where we have an A, B, and C. But the key level, if we break below this level right here, which is $41,447.89, I would favor the interpretation that this whole structure is complete. And given that, it would mean that this whole WXY wave was complete as well. So when we look here at the bigger picture, if you guys can kind of start to understand my implication here, I am thinking that there is another decline here for this wave 4. I don't think we're complete just yet. And so the way I'm counting this is my preferred count. I could be wrong, and I'm going to talk about where I would be wrong. But in my opinion, this is just wave A of 4, and we are right now forming wave B of 4 right up here. Whenever this tops out, it might have one more high in it, and I think it very well could. because the last move that took it up to the high of the structure didn't look impulsive. So we may have another move up to take out 45, 46,000, something like that. But then I'm looking at another decline here in a wave C of 4. And that decline would take out the bottom here of 28,800. So that's kind of the way I'm interpreting this chart. And I wanted to share this chart as well. This is looking at some of the important levels to keep your eyes on. And the two levels that are important right here, this is the 50% retracement of this entire decline. And this is also right here, this green level is the 61.8% retracement of the move from here, A of Y, retraced from the bottom of B of Y, and that's 62% right there. And also we have this is the previous wave 4 of 3 of this decline down. So really important levels right in this range between 45,500 and 46,800. So this is, in my opinion, a very likely stopping point for this wave C of Y and in turn, the entire wave B of 4. And so to look at this from a bigger picture, if we take this out to the weekly, the way I would be counting this is that this is the top of wave 3, and I'm expecting this to take the shape of a wave 4 that takes a zigzag form, A, B, and then C. Now, I don't know how low the C is going to go. There's still a lot more information that needs to be taken into account before making projections of that magnitude, but I am expecting a move that at least takes out the bottom of this wave A. And so when looking at different kinds of interpretations of this chart, there are many. Wave 4s are infamous for being complicated and difficult to trade, and that's very true. However, in this case, wave 4 traced out 5 waves, and really I do not know how else to count this decline other than a 5-wave move. And even if you look at the subdivisions, it looks beautiful. This looks like an impulsive move down in wave 1, corrective wave 2, clear. And this wave 3 looks, it's the largest move, it's the sharpest decline, very characteristic of a wave 3. This move right here it was very, very ugly. If you were following me on Instagram, I adjusted the count several times because I was anticipating it to be a correction, but it was really difficult. And a couple of times it looked like it broke above the structure, invalidating the count. But then I'm like, oh, not quite. It was a really ugly move, but very characteristic of a wave 4, ugly and choppy, and then a wave 5 that clearly took out the low of wave 3. So very clear 5-wave move, in my opinion. And the reason why that's important is because, first of all, the most frequent kinds of patterns in wave 4s are triangles and flat patterns. And those all take the shape of a 3-3-5. Well, flat patterns take the shape of a 3-3-5 pattern, and triangles are all 3 waves within their A, B, C, D, E. And so this is a 5-wave move, which means it's not a part of a flat pattern or a triangle pattern, which suggests that at the very least, it's likely to be a zigzag pattern. The most bearish interpretation is that we've already topped in the whole bull market for Bitcoin, but I don't really favor that that scenario personally, but it's definitely possible. And there could be some different kinds of patterns when you zoom back out in the monthly chart. But I'm not really considering those right now. I'm focusing on the move that's at hand currently, and there will be another, hopefully, opportunity to speculate on the upside of Bitcoin later on, and I'll be looking at that when we have a wave C of 4 down. Now, what if I'm wrong and Bitcoin does not take out the low over here at 28,800, and where would I be wrong if this is not a larger 3-wave move down for wave 4? And that would be simply if Bitcoin manages to make a new all-time high. If Bitcoin breaks above the new all-time high, this interpretation would be completely invalid, because even if, let's say, oh, it could be a flat pattern. Well, no, it can't be. It can't be an expanded flat, because this move down was 5 waves, and flat patterns, their wave A of a flat pattern only take the shape, or only subdivide in 3 waves. And so the context of this structure really affords a lot of information when projecting the likely scenarios moving forward. And so that's what I'm really focusing on. And I think this is a pretty high confidence setup, and one that doesn't have a lot of downside, because personally, I'm lightening up on my position. And if I'm wrong, well, I don't lose anything. But if I'm right, then I get an opportunity to possibly get back in at a lower price, and have a better risk to reward ratio, when looking at the prospects of a Bitcoin all-time high in late 2021 or 2022. So what I wanted to show lastly was the crypto fear greed index. If we update this, this is at, went down to 65. So we are in greed level, but looks like we are kind of tipping down here. But if you take it from the low, this is looking at should be the 3-month. Here's the low right here. I think it was actually here. This was the low. And it looks like a 3-wave move. We have a W, X, and then Y. We have 5 waves up for A of Y, B of Y, C of Y. So I like how it kind of also translates to the fear greed index measuring sentiment, because that's exactly what the wave principle does. It measures sentiment and human emotion, and how human emotion and the recurring nature of human behavior translates onto price charts. So I thought that was interesting too. And yeah, I wanted to close on that. And just again, this is the big picture. And the 2 scenarios are that this is all wave 4, and now we're heading up to wave 5, or that this is only A of 4, B of 4, and then we're coming down in C of 4. This is my preferred count. And this suggests that at the minimum, from right around where we are right now, let's just assume that we topped out exactly where we're at, then the decline would be at least 33%, if not more. So that's what I'm looking at. And I would love to hear your opinions on whether or not you think Bitcoin is heading to a new all-time high next, or if you think that Bitcoin is heading lower from here, or maybe even a lot lower. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Also, a real important level, and I talked about this in the last Bitcoin video, but it's been a while. This 13,000 level. Now, again, I don't anticipate this level coming into play anytime soon, but it's the most important level when we look at this potential setup, because if this is a wave 4, it should not violate this $13,000 level. It should stay between 28,800 level and the $13,868 level. And so if there is a violation of that, then I would suspect that this is not actually the pattern that's taking place, and it's actually a larger bearish pattern. But that is not my preferred scenario, for us to be breaking below 13,800 until completing a 5-wave move up in Bitcoin. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I would love to hear your perspectives on it. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.